What's up everybody, Sam Smice here. Today I want to show you how to make my song Trend, which is a modern pop song that is similar to That's What I Want by Lil Nas X, Let You by Iann Dior, and it's kind of similar to Stay, which is by Justin Bieber and the kid Laroi. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this song Trend I actually made with two Italian artists, J.R. Steet and Marfeel. And so this song is actually in Italian. The lyrics are actually in Italian, but that shouldn't really be an issue because everything else is going to be the same as if it were in English or any other language. So it's just going to be a bit more unique. So let me go ahead and play you from the beginning, which starts with the chorus, and then I'll go into part of the verse.
Adesso dammi un po' di te, sarà il mio nuovo trend. Sei entrata come un vortice nel mio solito weekend. Io ti rincorrerò in moto in quota anche se andassi a 100 e non mi fermerò a questo stop, è una gara tra me e te. Sei come uno strike, come fai il primo tiro. Mi tieni sempre in hype, non con i like.
So that was from the beginning into part of the verse, and you can kind of get the vibe there. It's going to be at 170 BPM, or halftime is going to be 85 BPM. I did 170 because the drums have that pop punk style where it's very fast. You have that snare that's going to be on the 2 if I do it at 170. So that's why the BPM of this session is 170 here. So you can hear I've got some guitars in there. I actually recorded some electric guitars and also acoustic guitars. The first demo, J.R. Steet did the guitars in Contact, and then I just went back and redid a lot of them with actually playing them. So at the end here, we've got D minor, D flat minor. I usually put this at the end of my sessions just to know that that is going to be the key of the song. It's pretty helpful. Then I have everything marked out. We've got the start, the verses, the pre, the chorus, the verses here. And then of course we have the chorus and the post-chorus, and that's the second time. And the first time we've got the chorus and the post-chorus. And in that start, we just kind of start off with the chorus right away. So let's start off with the drums. So on the drums group, I have the compressor, K-Clip, Pro Q3, Decapitator, and I'm doing some automation with a filter there. Let's go ahead and open this up, and I'll just play you this kick here. So that's just the kick rhythm. And let's go on and listen to these double claps. These are just going to be like random clap fills. Throughout the track.
Adesso dammi un po' di te, sarà il mio nuovo trend. Sei entrata come un po'.
So I can hear them in the track there. And then I've got the snare here. And the snare has this 80s vibe to it. It's pretty thick and crunchy. I think I pulled it from an Oliver pack on Splice because he has like some of the best 80s sounds. So that's going to be the snare. And then during the verses, I actually use a rim. And that's just going to be a couple layers of rims, rim shots. So that is all three of them individually. Let's go ahead and play them all together. And if you think about how a drummer might actually play drums, maybe during the chorus, he's actually hitting the snare and then he switches to the rim shot. So that's kind of like what I was thinking there, because this modern pop style, it's almost a throwback to this pop punk style where you're using actual instruments and actual drums. So I'm just trying to like mimic what a drummer would actually do during a verse. And then we just have some open hat stuff, kind of like open hat ear candy stuff. And then we've got the fast hat. I have a little FX riser, which probably should just put that in the FX group, but it's in the drums group. And then these like additional drums, which I think J.R. Steet made, which are just like some background just to fill in the drums, give them some texture. So now let's go ahead and solo all the drums. And now let's go to the verse. And that's just going to be the basics of the drum beat. Here's the post chorus. Just a cool little fill going into the second verse. I'll go ahead and play that for you. So that about does it for the drums group. Let's go ahead and go on to the bass. I just have a multi-band compressor on this bass here. Pro Q3, EQ8, because I'm doing some automation. Let's open that up. At the end of these sections here, I'm automating the low cut. So that transitions nicely into the next part. And so for the bass, I just had this bass guitar, which I actually made in Contact. And it's really just mimicking the rhythm of the guitars, the acoustic guitars. There's a very light pad, and then we just have the sub here. And so for the chorus part, we have the sub that's kind of held out the notes. And then for the verse, I have them just mimicking the rhythm of the guitar, the acoustic guitar. So you can't really hear any bass there, but for that part, I just want to add a bit of a low end layer so that it didn't sound completely empty in the low end during that part. And that's really all I did for that bass. So it's just going to be 3 different tracks. There we drop out the bass and then we bring everything back in during the chorus. So that about does it for the bass group. Let me go into the effects group now. Now for the effects, I am pretty simple with the effects. You just have your impacts, your crashes. So nothing too crazy with the effects. But I do have this vinyl crack here, which you probably can't even hear, but this just adds an extra layer across the whole track to give it a bit of an analog feel. And so you can do this. You can just take a vinyl crack loop, put it across your entire track, and just mix it in really lightly so that it has a bit of an analog feel so that it doesn't sound too clean. Your track doesn't sound too clean. And that's really it for the effects. So let's move on to the instrument group now. So we've got the solid bus compressor, some EQ. I like to use the exciter to excite my track some more. So I added some high-end excitement right there. This is probably just the preset enhance high-end. Then I have a Pro Q3, which I'm actually sidechaining one of these bands to the vocals group, this one here, which is around 4K. Just because the vocals have some presence around that area and I wanted to duck the instruments so that they didn't interfere with the vocals. And then some very light side chaining on the kick there. So let's go ahead and open up the instrument group. We have these vocals here, which are like vocal chops, and I believe J.R. Steet recorded these. Some cool little ear candy. So those are those vocal chops. We have a little melody here, kind of inspired by Stay. Got that 80s lead sound, just an ambience here. I have a little flute that happens in between the verse transitions, which is kind of cool. And that goes like this in the track. It's all about those little ear candy moments to make things a bit interesting. So let's go into the guitars now. So I actually have the guitars layered with an electric guitar here. And I'm using Guitar Rig, just the Tweed Man for the amp. And I just recorded these guitars direct in, kind of dirty. And then in the verse, I have these guitar strums. With some nice reverb and delay. Sounds really pretty. And then this guitar vibrato is actually from Contact. So these were ones that J.R. Steet made, and then I didn't change them because they sounded fine to me, just mixed in the track. Same with that one. That one's actually from Contact. And then there's this rhythm, just like a ch-ch-ch-ch, which is also from Contact, I believe. one of the acoustic guitar instruments in Contact. And so now let's get into the actual guitars that kind of go throughout the whole track here. And so I basically did that and repeated it throughout the entire song using some automation on the filter here. And this is going to be the processing. I just use a compressor and the Pro Q3, just like that. And then I added a delay to the left channel so that they sounded a bit wider. Even though these are going to be two different takes on the right side and the left side, I just wanted to give some delay to that left side so it had a bit more width than there already was. My acoustic guitar is not the best sounding acoustic guitar when I record it, but it's all I had. And so I thought it sounded pretty good the way that I mixed it. So next we just have some synth layers. Just like a bell. An analog synth sound. A pad. Bit of a brighter pad. A little pluck melody, and then we've got these saws here. Just following the same chords as the guitar. Maybe a little too many layers on those synths, but it sounded cool. So those are all of these synths together, and that basically does it for the instrument group. So let me go ahead and just play all the instruments together. So those are all the instruments during the chorus. We can listen to the verse here. And there's that little flute sound. So that about does it for the instrument group. Let's go ahead and move on to the vocals now. So on the vocals group, I have the solid bus compressor, got a Pro Q3 here, have the fresh air. I really like this plugin to add some nice air to the vocals, just using it very lightly. And then just a light de-esser, because as you have all of these vocals, all the S sounds will tend to build up if you don't cut them enough. So just making sure that I'm taking care of any sibilants. So this is going to be the lead vocal, and you can tell it's already pretty compressed really heavily. That's because I got the processing from Marfeel. Marfeel was the singer. So he did his processing on the vocal, and I really just added some reverb to it.
Uno strike come fa il primo tiro. Mi tieni sempre in hype, non coni like ma nella vita. Mentre mi parli un po' di te, vedo.
Just got a dynamic EQ there during the low end, and then some Soothe 2 to take out some more of that low end.
Uno strike come fa il primo tiro. Mi tieni sempre in hype, non coni like ma nella.
And I just have two different reverbs on the vocals. And that's it, because there was already processing on this lead vocal, so I didn't need to do too much. Then I have these vocal echoes just to fill in the spaces of the track. And I'll usually just take part of the lead vocal, copy it, paste it to this new track, and put 100% wet with a reverb or delay, something like that. I have this little ad-lib, which is
Finché vorrai.
kind of like a Justin Bieber style of ad-lib. I have the doubles here.
Cosa?
And we can see what I put on these doubles. Low cut, VC76, VC2A, Pro Q3, Pro DS. You can just see what I'm doing there. And then just some reverb. Very simple. Relatively dry vocals throughout this whole track. And these are going to be some more doubles. We can see I'm just doing a lot of the same stuff. Putting on the compressors, the EQ, and the de-esser. More doubles, and then I have some harmonies here. And so sometimes I cut out the S sounds of backgrounds because I don't want the sibilants of those S sounds. You can usually just get away with one S sound, so usually that comes from the lead vocal. So I didn't really need them from these wide harmonies. And then we have these O's here. Individually there, they sound a little tinny because I take out a lot of low end, but they're layered with other vocal tracks. So let's just go ahead and take a listen to all of the vocals together so we can hear how they sound in the chorus.
Vortice nel mio solito weekend. Tu mi dici che stasera non faremo presto. Io non mi stancherò di te, tu non sei il solito trend. Ogni momento è da curare come fosse il primo.
And that basically does it for the vocals there. Pretty simple processing on those vocals, keeping them relatively dry because there's a lot of stuff going on throughout the whole track. So let's just go ahead and take a look at our master real quick. This is going to be the solid bus compressor, and I'm just using the mix glue, knocking off maybe like 1 dB. And I have the soft clipper here, the K clip. This is one of my favorite soft clippers. Pro Q3, just cutting off all of that low end and the top end because you don't need anything below 20 hertz or 20 kilohertz. You can't even hear it. And then we've got an exciter to add some tape presence. That's just going to be the tape presence preset, and I changed a little bit of it. I had the stereo expander for the SPL vitalizer, just turned that up a bit and didn't use anything else. And then the Pro L2. So I just turned off the oversampling for now for this run through, so it wasn't messing with my CPU, but usually I'll put 2 to 4 oversampling, true peak limiting, and then I use a preset and then just adjusted that preset to get it to sound how I wanted. So that about does it for my song Trend. I hope that helps you understand how to do this modern pop style a little bit better. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please consider subscribing to my channel. And finally, if you are truly looking to improve your mixing skills, then check out my Modern Mix Academy. This is going to be a full online mixing course that I created that will help you make some of the best mixes of your life from the comfort of your own home. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.